I spent the last 8 months building with pretty much every real-time AI avatar API that I could find. Now, this is real building, not just creating a free account and reading the docs, but actual code and real builds. For this video, I wanted to pick out the main 8 avatar providers in the space and go over them. So I'm going to walk you through all 8, what they actually cost, how fast they actually respond, and how human they look. So that when you go to build something, you know exactly what you're picking and why. Let's start with how I judge them. So I'm going to scroll up a bit here, and forgive me for the layout of the presentation. I just wanted it this way for simplicity. But anyways, let's zoom into the criteria. So these are the ones that actually matter when you're building a production product. So first up is latency. How fast does the avatar actually respond? The human perception threshold is around 300 milliseconds. Above that, it starts to feel like a lag. You notice the gap. So this is the single most important technical number. Next up is pricing. So cost per minute of actual conversation. This ranges from less than a cent on the low end to around 40 cents a minute on the high end. And at 1,000 hours of usage, that difference is enormous. Next up, we're going to be judging off of realism. So how human does the avatar actually look? Lip sync, eye movement, facial expressions, emotional range. This is harder to put a number on, but you know it when you see it. And lastly, the developer experience. So how fast can you go from nothing to a working demo? This also includes quality of the docs, the SDK, and support. Some of them can get you there in an afternoon. Others might be a few days. All right, so that's it for the criteria. Now let's get into the actual contenders. Starting up first, we have Tavis. Now, this is the most well-known name in the space. Tavis is a great company. They've been around the longest. They have the deepest enterprise integrations. They were the first API that most serious builders reached for. Their main model is called Sparrow Zero, with a sub 600 millisecond latency. At the edge of the threshold, but fast enough for a real conversation. Transport is WebRTC via LiveKit, which means it plugs into the most popular infrastructure stack without friction. The CVI, or their conversational video interface, runs at around a 37 cents per minute overage rate. Now, a bit on the higher end, but the quality Tavis provides makes up for it. And lastly, you can make a custom avatar with just a 2-minute training video. Fast to set up and the quality is genuinely good. All right, moving on to Simly. Simly is the cost story of this entire comparison. Their Trinity 1 model, which is under a cent a minute, so that's less than 1 penny per minute. And this is not a typo. Latency is under 300 milliseconds, which puts them right at the human perception threshold. Transport, again, is WebRTC. They're in both Pipecast and LiveKit, so they drop cleanly into any serious agent stack. And they do have a legacy model that's around 5 cents per minute, but Trinity 1 is the main thing to pay attention to. For cost-sensitive deployments, startups, or anything high volume, Simly can be great. Developer experience is clean, the docs are solid, and the free tier gives you enough credit to actually test things. Moving on, we have Beyond Presence. So Beyond Presence is the speed champion with under 100 milliseconds of latency. That's faster than human reaction time, so when you're speaking to a Beyond Presence avatar, the response genuinely feels instant. There's real research depth behind it. They've raised a lot of money, and it's worth noting pricing is credit-based, so 1 credit equals 1 minute of live interaction. They also have different subscription plans, and they don't publish per minute overage plans publicly, but they offer 2 developer products, a speech-to-video API and a managed agents API, which gives you flexibility in how you integrate. So yeah, really good and hyper-realistic. Now let's move on to Hedra. Hedra's story is about price disruption for the real-time market. Their live avatar API launched around July 2025 with pricing at around 5 cents per minute. And when they announced it, they said it was 15 times cheaper than existing solutions. That was accurate at launch, and it still holds true today. Their main model is Character 2 with sub-second latency. And they exist and have a partnership with LiveKit, meaning you could drop it into any existing integration pipelines. And it works with any LLM, OpenAI, Gemini, Claude. You bring the brains, and then Hedra can be the face on top of that. On the studio side, there are creator plans, like the Light plan at $10 a month, or the Creator plan at $30 a month, but those are for video generation, separate from the live API. Okay, moving on, we have Anim AI. In my opinion, Anim wins the developer experience category. The onboarding is the smoothest of any of these 8. The docs are also the clearest. So if you're building solo or with a small team and you want to go from 0 to demo fast, I recommend Anim. Latency is around 180 milliseconds, well under the threshold, genuinely fast. And this is one of the only providers where pricing is completely transparent and public. Free tier gets you 30 minutes a month. The starter plan for $12 a month gives you 45 minutes, with overages at 18 cents per minute. Explorer is a bit more expensive, but you do get a few concurrent sessions with that. The Explorer plan is a bit more expensive, but you do get 3 concurrent sessions with that. It scales cleanly, you know what you're paying, and there's also a Framer plugin if you want to include it in your landing page or some demos. All right, moving on, we have a newer avatar provider, but this is called Runway Characters, and I played around with them a little bit. This one's a little bit different. They actually just launched. So every other provider here requires some sort of avatar setup, a training video, a persona configuration, something. Runway Character takes any single image and makes it a live, interactive avatar. No fine tuning, no training, just instant. Our underlying model is called GWM1. This is the same lab that has a partnership with the BBC. So this is not a scrappy startup entering real-time video. This is one of the most respected AI labs in the world, deciding that AI avatars are important to build for. Pricing, you get 30 free credits on signup, and full commercial pricing has not been released yet. So I assume we'll get some numbers soon. But anyways, let's move on to HeyGen. HeyGen is a name that most people in the space probably already know. They built their reputation on high-quality AI-generated video, the kind you'd use for marketing or training content. So Live Avatar was their answer to the real-time market. Pricing here is layered with 20 cents a minute for the full mode or 10 cents a minute for the light mode. API plans are a bit more pricey. And one thing worth flagging is HeyGen removed their free API tier in February. So there's no longer a free way to test the developer experience before paying. Framework support is solid, both PipeCat and LiveKit, with a well-maintained HeyGen video service. I have a couple videos on that. So the trade-off is cost versus brand. HeyGen's video quality is excellent, their enterprise trust is real, but you're paying for that reputation at the API level. Alright, and last but definitely not least, we have Lemon Slice, a bit of a newer player here. They launched publicly in December 2025. They raised a lot of money from Y Combinator and they're powered by 11 Labs for voice, which tells you they're serious about audio from day one. Latency is a bit high as of right now, but what they're building towards is clear. PipeCat transport, a LiveKit collaboration, and a developer API that's on its way. Plans start at $8 a month, but full API pricing is not public yet. So I think as time goes on, Lemon Slice is going to become a huge player in the space. All right, now that's all 8 of the contenders, but before we move on to the final verdict, I wanted to go over the framework support map. Here's the practical filter most developers actually need. If you're building a voice AI agent, you're almost certainly building on either PipeCat or LiveKit. These are the two dominant open source frameworks for real-time AI. So here's the cheat sheet. On PipeCat, these 4, HeyGen, Simile, Tavis, Lemon Slice have their integrations. In the LiveKit agents, we have these 6. So in both, we have Tavis, Simile, and HeyGen. So if you want maximum portability across frameworks, those 3 providers are your best bet. All right, drum roll, please. Let's head over to the verdict. So which one should you actually use out of the 8 providers tested? Let's go through this. The best speed would be given to Beyond Presence with the sub 100 millisecond latency. For raw responsiveness, it's the best. The best price goes to Simile. Under a cent a minute for their Trinity 1 model takes the cake on this for this one. If you're building at scale, this is the clear answer. For best realism, I would give that to Runway Characters. I would probably have this tied with Tavis as well, but Runway Characters' new GWM1 model from a lab of that caliber really sets the bar for AI avatars. For the best developer experience, like I mentioned, I would give that to Atom, clearest docs, cleanest onboarding, and honest pricing with a great latency. And best overall, I would give this to Tavis. As it says best here, most battle tested, deepest integrations, and it's proven at enterprise scale, so it's the reliable choice for most production teams. And that is it, guys, so I'm going to zoom all the way out here. But one honest note, the space is moving fast enough that these rankings will probably change within the next 6 months. You know, there's going to be more published latency benchmarks, everything will be closer to real time, and there will be probably new entrants we haven't seen yet. And to be fully transparent, I'm building in this space actively with my own avatar I plan to release in the next 2 to 3 months, so I'll keep you guys updated. But that's it. I hope you guys liked the video. Subscribe if you want more news like this, or drop a like. It helps me out a ton, and I'll see you guys in the next video.